Good afternoon, Pat the Warren podcast. This is Matt Warren. It's episode 570. Today is Monday, December 11th, 2023. Hope you're having a great day. I am headed home from work today. Wanted to share about getting things in writing. My boss is trying to hire his son, his oldest son, to come work for him. And I sent him I sent the son, the employee contract that I signed, to come and work for the job that I'm at right now, and thought it might help him. I took out my pay rate and took out some of the sales verbiage because it'll be more of an operations manager role. But the reason why I bring this up is because I talked to him afterwards. I was like, hey, I just sent you this. I wanted it to, so you didn't have to recreate the will. I thought this might be of use for you to fill out and just fill in the blanks for what your terms will be to come work for us. And he's like, yeah, but it's my dad. I don't know if I'll if I'll have a contract with my dad, And I'm like, dude, my dad would not even think about, hiring me or doing anything without a contract. Like, I don't understand. He's like, yeah, but it's my dad. I don't know if it'll work out, giving him a contract. I've tried to give him a contract before about something, and it kind of blew up in my face. And I was like, yeah, but you got to have something to point to and talk about and say, no 3 weeks vacation, no 2 weeks vacation, or I want $50 an hour, I want $60 an hour, like whatever the number is. You got to have all the terms out on the paper in one document. In my opinion, that's what you got to do so that you can talk to them all. And he's like, well, I got an Excel spreadsheet of kind of what it's going to cost for me to live and, and what I'm making now. And I'm just going to talk to him about it. And I finally got to the point where I'm like, okay, if you need any help, if I can ever help you in any way, just let me know. You can't help. I can't change him, right? But I just thought it was interesting because maybe I'm fortunate. It's because I'm fortunate and I grew up in a household where my dad would not do anything like that, whether it's hire me or take out a small loan or any kind of agreement. It had to be in writing, and we both would sign it, and Mom would copy it on the copier and go give me a copy of the contract. So I guess I'm just fortunate that I grew up in a household like that. I thought it kind of was ridiculous at the time, but now looking back on it, I'm grateful that Dad made us do that. An employee contract or any kind of financial agreement, it's just good to get it out on paper and sign it. And I kept going around and around with this guy. I was like, you're going to want to look back on it 6 months from now and say, well, what did we talk about? Have it covers you and him. That's what it contract's for. It covers you and him. I said, you have on there things like the position title that you want to have. He's like, well, I'm not going to have a title, man. I'll just do everything. I just do whatever. I'm a team player. I'm not a me guy. I'm a we guy. I'm like, yeah, but you need a title. You got to have a title for LinkedIn. You got to have a title. I said, I think you should come in as operations manager. I said, I would put on this document, the title is operations manager. You got to have a title. So anyway, long story short, I just tried my best. But don't ever go work for somebody, I don't care if it is your dad, without an employee contract, laying out all the terms. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about is that in my last podcast, I talked about how I was making 2 offers for seller financing. Those 2 deals I pulled the plug on. The first one, the duplex over near Columbia College, it was 1502 Cleveland in Columbia, South Carolina. That's a pretty cool duplex. Just to give you a quick recap, originally they listed it on the MLS for $209,000. I got it under contract for $205,000. I did the inspection. I paid $350 for an inspector to come around and look at all the appliances, take photos, look at everything that needed to be fixed, write it up, submit me a report. That I used that as my ammunition, along with some off the hip pricing, and said, hey, look, it's going to cost about $40,000 or $50,000 for renovations to really get this up to where it needed to be. I said, I'll cover half of those. I'll cover half and you cover the other half. I need you to come down to 180. The bank is not going to finance it higher than 180. And that's the truth. When I ran my numbers, the debt coverage ratio was at 205. It was like barely covering itself. So it was like a 100% debt coverage ratio. The bank needs to be at 125, 1.25. So meaning that the amount coming in was 25% greater than all the net operating income going out. If the loan price, if the offer of the property was at 180, that I was going to have to put down like 25% of that. I think that's $35,000. So the loan amount was going to be, 140 or so. That with a 5-year balloon, amortized over 20 years, at the average 7.75% to 8% interest rate, it came out to, exactly 1.25%. When I had a property manager already in the budget, I had $50 a month in there for lawn care. Somebody's got to cut the grass, even though I might do it. So we submitted an addendum for repairs and said that based on the repairs from the inspection, we need to be at 180. And they came back shortly after and said, we're going to relist it back on the MLS and we'd like to be released from this contract. So we gladly signed it, but they didn't counter or anything. The realtor made a comment at one point during the negotiation that they would have come down like $4,000 for repairs. Well, that would have been right at $200,000 or $201,000. It's just too high. Plus, another reason why we got out was the one tenant that they had in there, one side of the duplex was empty. The power was cut off. The other side had a tenant in there. It was only paying $640 a month. Super low. It needed to be up about $850, $900. They were evicting that person. So I thought that playing out the timeline and dragging it out a little bit, they were going to be in a bad spot with 0 tenants and they would want to sell more. So that's why I went for the 180. It would have been real tough to get a loan on that with there being 0 income. Although I looked at it as it would be nice to be able to renovate it while it was empty and be able to, paint everything, clean everything really good, scrub everything. I was going to hold off on the roof until it really needed it, but it does need a roof. I got a roof quote for about $7,500. That's pretty good. It does need a roof here soon. So, and we had to do some grading in the backyard to fix it up. That one didn't go through, which I'm fine. I'm really happy about it. The other one was with my buddy Vince. I had a duplex. He has a house with a duplex behind it. All of them are rented. They've had long-term tenants that have been there 10 plus years. The problem with that one is, well, he told a guy that he needed $210,000 cash and he could have the property as is. The guy called him back. He was an investor and said, I'll do that, $210,000 cash. Well, I wrote back and said, hey, Vince, I've got a seller finance model where you won't have to pay the $50,000 in capital gains tax. I've got a proposal with seller finance. You could seller finance it to me. It'll amortize out for 20 years, but I'll have a balloon payment in 5 years. I'll refinance with the bank in 5 years after I get the tenant rates, the tenants up to market rate. Currently, right now, they're paying like $500 or $600 a piece, which is good. It'll cover the mortgage, but they need to be up to about $750 a piece. Well, to get them that high, the property manager will probably have to give them notice, and they'll probably have to kick them out. Well, the problem with that is those are my buddy Vince's friends, and I didn't want to be in a situation, considering that Vince is my sponsor in AA. I didn't want to be in a position to where I kicked out all of Vince's buddies in his duplex and in his house in order to get the market rate rentals. I couldn't figure out how that would work. So I texted Vince on Sunday and said, hey, thank you for considering my offer. I'm going to withdraw my offer, because he didn't really respond. He looked it over. I texted him about viewing it and looking at it on Sunday, but he didn't respond back to that. So that's when I kind of got the vibe that it wasn't really going to move forward. Long story short, I am happy that those two deals are not moving forward at this time. I really need to sell my rental. I mean, not my rental, sell my flip. I flipped this house at 648 Sumter Street, and it's been on the market now about a month. I need to get some offers and need to get some deals moving on that so we can close that out. And then I'll be able to use that money toward the next property. I don't need to go find a property and hope that Sumter Street sells. Let's get the money and then go find a deal. I hope everybody has a wonderful afternoon. Make your contribution today. Life is good. If I can do anything for you, give me a call. Have a great day.